Hello, and welcome to another program in the series Emotional and Mental Well-Being. And we're going to deal with life baggage today. We think of people who are receiving treatment or are labeled as not being normal. But what is normal? Right? I've listened to a video by an autistic person, and he described how they live, what they feel, what they do, how they act. And I listened to it and I thought, that was me. So am I not normal? Am I autistic? So when we look at the word normal, it means different things for different people, but there are definitely people who have serious emotional baggage that they have to deal with. And today I'm going to look at some of the coping mechanisms that people have. For example, if we look at this one here, this could be my second me. He's normal. So what is normal for us may not be normal for somebody else. Now, when people experience trauma, when they experience difficulty coping with their lives, the first resort is lying. And that's lying to themselves. They build for themselves a life that doesn't really exist. But for them, it's an escape route. This is for them a safe haven that they create with lies. And they make themselves believe those lies. And those are the lies that they live and they tell other people as if it's the truth. So the first mechanism will be lying. Then they also have a coping mechanism of denial. For example, whatever is bothering them, it never happened, right? And we live as if it never occurred. And that is another lie to the self. Right? And a third mechanism, and a very, very, very serious mechanism of coping, is creating personas. Now, this particular one who's sitting here might be my other persona. It might appear normal, right? And I may stay in hiding and just appear when I feel comfortable. But this vulnerable, weak person will send this one out. Although we appear as one when we come out to you, but it's this one that's talking to you. And this persona may appear brave, but the moment I get back into my own space, we see the vulnerable me. I may even create a third persona. And therefore I don't like to label people as any. We hear terms of bipolar. What about somebody who has created a third and a fourth persona to cope with their lives? And a fourth persona, for example, I'm the weak person, the real me, I'm the weak person. I create somebody who appears to be perfectly normal. I create a third one who seems to be robust and rugged and confronts the world, confront people as that persona when needs be. And we have maybe a fourth or a fifth persona. But isn't that maybe all of us who sometimes do that, maybe not create a different persona, but at this point in time I have mood swings. And this mood I'm in now, I'm in a foul mood, I'm going to do what I want to do. And it may not be regarded as a different persona, it may just be a phase we think we're going through, but it is also a coping mechanism for a while. I think when we have created these different personas and they exist individually, and the one may not even be aware that the other one did bad, that is time when we have real serious trouble that people need to seek advice. Right? When we are in denial of our own trauma, in denial of what is causing our own trauma, that I think is very serious. That is blocking our way to wellness. So the first step to becoming emotionally and mentally well again is to be able to admit what the actual problem is, and that can become very difficult if the problem is very close to the heart. Or maybe a child or spouse is the problem. And if until we deal with the real issue, there is no getting better. We can take as many tablets as we want to, we can go into many programs, we can go into many clinics, but until we have admitted to ourselves that I do have a problem, number one, and secondly, that I know what the problem is, although I've denied it all the time, I can admit it to myself first of all. I don't have to tell the world what my problem is. If I have identified it and I can deal with myself, good and well. But it's very, very often that we need professional help in dealing with uh, issues that have happened many, many years back. That baggage that we said we need to take out from wherever we stored the baggage, just take out what we need. The problem is when we open or we retrieve that baggage and everything falls out. That can become a very, very traumatic, and that's the time we fall apart. Right? We can't deal with anything. We bury ourselves sometimes under our own baggage. Sometimes we sit in the middle of a baggage and nobody can get to us. We use that baggage as a wall to keep people out. So very importantly, if there are things that bother you or me or anybody, if we can identify it, we do not pry. The first thing is, it's not that it's none of our business, but we do not pry and we leave it until the person is comfortable enough to say that I do have an issue. Even if I've identified what the issue is, I need to step back and allow that person to first of all identify the problem within itself. For example, like I said, if this is my escape route, right, and it appears normal, the moment we are in denial of something, the moment we hide from ourselves, is the time that we need to get that professional help and say that if I don't do this now, it may just get worse and worse. I may drag along more and more baggage and I cannot face the world. I can't live. So wherever we are in our lives, whether we are young, whether we are older, whether we've been dragging this baggage for years, the moment we admit to ourselves that we need help is the moment that we are starting to heal. And that can be a very painful process. If it means also having to confront people, which is something which we need to try and avoid at all costs, is confrontations. But if we need to confront somebody and say, for example, this happened, I wasn't happy about it, if that's going to help you feel better, maybe we should do it. Is there any way of doing it differently? Now, if we forgive ourselves, if it's something that I've gone through that I shouldn't have done, and I'm very, very upset about it, and I've been hating myself for that for a long time, until I've forgiven myself for that, there's no healing. And if there was anybody else involved, let that be, let that person deal with their own. That is my advice, is that the more we're going to maybe involve the people who are part of the problem, the less chance we're going to have of healing. It may just be opening up more wounds, it may open up more trouble, and our healing may be more difficult. If I think just for myself, if I am going to take this step forward, I know this is the problem, I know this is what happened, it may not be my fault, but having somebody to pay for it at maybe years later, what am I going to benefit from it? Is it going to be to my contribute to my mental and emotional well-being? Is it going to be gratifying for me? And I think decisions that we have to make are not easy ever. And that type of decisions sit with somebody, and somebody obviously that you can trust. It may be a friend or professional person. Professional help often is good, but quite often just being with a friend who just is interested in your well-being and is trustworthy, such a type of friend is somebody you need to treasure and sit with and speak your heart out. And if we cannot do that, for example, I advise a lot of my clients, take that little whiteboard, small whiteboard, take a wipe away coatie and write all your problems on there. See if it's worthwhile pursuing. See if it's worth the while stressing about, and wipe it away. If you still feel the same after that, let's do it again. Write those problems down and say, these are steps. This is where I am at this point in time. And this is what I can do. And what is it that I can do that has the least harm to anybody else, including myself, in the process? And we take out not an easy way out like denying that things happen, but take a way out that will soothe your heart and that will least of all affect other people. And once we have contentment of our own hearts, we'll find that it's easier to forgive other people. Once I've forgiven myself, for me, it doesn't really matter. Whatever happens to that other person, that is that is on their books, that's on their business. I need to find content in myself. If I've created this little guy that seems to be a little bit normal, yes, I need to get rid of him if I need to. But if I'm happy to have him with me all the time, to appear normal, and it doesn't affect my being, it doesn't affect my life at all, by all means, let us be together, right? Let us live a life of coping. That is my mechanism of coping, right? Having 3-4 different personalities definitely shows that a great deal of mental instability. So if we have a balance between what remains, if it's an extra escape route for me, if I need to, I will engage him. I will engage this normal guy, and then I might hide behind him for a while, but it will make me stronger, and I will emerge. Like if with my new person, if I've grown to the effect that I'm getting contentment of heart, is a huge step. It's growth of person, and growth can be very difficult. Like we said, even a snake, when it sheds its skin, it becomes vulnerable. It doesn't matter how poisonous or how huge that snake is, it becomes vulnerable. So if we shed our skins of weakness, or maybe shed our skins of harshness, or whatever it is that we need to grow out and become a contented being and being able to cope with our lives, then I think it is worthwhile going through the process of healing yourself, sitting down with somebody and just finding a way of getting along with yourself, getting along with everybody else, not at the expense of yourself. We need to find a way of being kind and generous without being weak and submissive.